You're used to it. Yeah, I'm ready.
Sure. Coach, what kind of, when you look back at just, the offenses, maybe I know there were a lot red zone trips as well, but it just didn't seem as consistent through four quarters as maybe you guys have been. What stood out watching the film about maybe some of the things aside from near the goal line that prevented the offense from having a day like you guys have had in the past?
Yeah, I think that you can't, besides the goal line trips, because those are the ones we really needed. We had the opportunities to score and win the game. But the other things were the negative plays, the penalty, getting us, more times behind the chains than you want to be. And it's hard to get back to 2nd and 14. And I think we had a 3rd and 17. We actually even converted a first down when we had a 3rd and extra long and then went for it on 4th. But we were just in way too many negative situations behind the chains, and that's not what we normally have done offensively. But Taylor can't take a sack one time, really hurt us. He's got to be able to throw the ball away. So that really caught up to us.
Looking ahead to Texas, their defense has been consistent throughout most of the year. Obviously, a little blip last week against Georgia. What kind of, when you look at their units, secondary, defensive line, linebacker, what makes them such a good defense?
Yeah, they got those 2 edge players that are really good. The linebacker that's a special player, number 0, played against us last year. He knows the game. They got one of the best corners in the country. So they got really good players. They're well coached. They do a lot of different things, and they, mix it up on you. So looking back at last year, we did some really good things against them, and at times, and then they got to our quarterback. We're going to have to protect the quarterback.
You mentioned imparting on the players the importance of playing Texas to the fan base and everything. Has that started with you, and what kind of
Yeah, we talked about it last night, and in the team meeting, obviously. But we're going to do some things to make sure they understand it, because it's always been a big deal. I remember the first time I was here, it was always a big deal about the Arkansas-Texas rivalry and the big games. So we're going to try to put a few things together for them, make sure they understand it, and know how important it is to the state of Arkansas.
Have you been to Texas aside from that one year? I guess that would have been 2008. You been there?
First year I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. It's
Yeah.
bad memory.
I remember Joe Adams said something like, "Coach, it was like they were mad at us."
I don't know. I remember looking up at the scoreboard and towards the end of the first quarter and going, 28 times 4 is what? Because it was bad. They just really got it. They had a really good quarterback who had a phenomenal year that year. And against us, he just hit everything. So.
Well, y'all were just getting started that year, but
yeah, but I remember it. Thanks, appreciate it. I won't sleep all week.
Steve Sarkisian's been lauded as a really good offensive coordinator, obviously a head coach. But what about him that you see makes him a good coordinator?
Yeah, I've been following him for a long, long time. When he was offense coordinator at USC for Pete Carroll, then he went to Washington as the head coach, and seems like everybody that. Or not everybody, but a lot of people that I know either worked with him or worked for him. So he's been one of those guys that you always look and see what they're doing. And, he's a phenomenal offensive coordinator, obviously. Really, really good screen team guy. He's always been great with the screen, so we're going to have to be on top of the screen game and make sure we don't give up big plays on screens. And then he'll try to get you with some shots down the field off of bubble plays or fake receiver screens. So we gotta make sure that we're disciplined with our eyes and don't let them hit the big plays off of their screen game.
Action for J.J. Shelton since week 2. How do you think he did?
Yeah, he got welcome to SEC football. He's a little sore yesterday, a little bit beat up. But I thought they did a pretty good job of putting that package together and working the package that we had to get more speed on the field. And he competed extremely hard, made some good plays. I think he is really sore, though. It's his first SEC game.
this late in the season, 2 games left. I mean, how do you go about fixing turnovers? Is there a change to the weekly plan?
Yeah, I mean, you have to take care of the ball. We had situations where, we blew one play, work that play all the time. Mike does it all. He's done it all year long. And somehow he thought he was taking a handoff, and it's a flip. It's not a handoff. And then, the one that's really disappointing to me on Talon is the naked. When you come out and the tight end's number 1 in the progression and he's wide open and we didn't throw him the ball. I'm not sure why. That's something that cannot happen,
I'm sorry.
About that play?
Yeah, we talked to him about everything. So
A couple of injuries. Charlie Collins, but Braylon Russell didn't play. Status of both. Expectation for
Charlie,
Texas.
I think, is going to be good this week. He worked really, really hard last week to get ready to play. Went out and got some practice in. We took him on the trip thinking that he would be ready, and he wasn't. So he should be good to go. Braylon's was weird. He ran into our fullback, and then he was out for the game with the concussion protocol.
Does that mean he's out this week too, or?
I don't know. We see how that goes. It just happened like in a non-contact drill, and he ran in and hit his own guy, and we'll just see how he comes back from it.
Listening to Caleb and Mike Washington on Saturday after you, just saying all the right things about staying together and trying and being positive. Has it gotten harder as this has gone along, or do you just kind of see a consistent approach from the message you want to send?
It feels like it's harder. I think it feels like it's harder because you're so disappointed after the game and after the loss. And I told the guys last night how proud I am of them by their attitude and being good teammates and sticking together. And there's no reason to stop now. We might as well continue what we're doing and continue competing hard. And it's kind of a really weird anomaly, I guess you would say, that we do this deal where offensive, defensive team wins. 4 of those games should have been wins from that sheet, and then they're not, but that's an outlier. Every one of them's an outlier. So it's like, what the heck? So I don't know. We just keep battling away.
This Sark offense with Arch Manning, he was getting a lot of criticism early in the year, but it seems like he's kind of working his way back into more production. What do you think of Arch in this offense?
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good, talented player. A lot of times, as a quarterback, I always tell our guys it's an occupational hazard. When things aren't going as well as they should do, you're going to take more blame than you probably should take. A lot of times when you execute well and you play well at quarterback, it's because all 10 other guys out on the field are doing a great job and doing their job. So it's a hard position to play. You're certainly going to be the one that takes the criticism. You have to have big shoulders and understand I chose to play this position, and that goes with it.
Aside from your one game here in 2008 down there against them, you obviously studied up on the history too to get ready to tell the players. What kind of stands out to you about Arkansas, Texas?
I mean, just the big games, and the scoring, and I guess what stands out more to me than anything is when I was here and I used to have a fantasy camp, and the guys that would come there and tell the stories about the games, and not just the win but the loss, and how they weren't over it yet, so you knew that it was huge when they weren't over that loss yet.